The human ship Odyssey drifted silently through the endless black of space. Captain Ethan Cole stood in the control room, staring at the star-filled void with a mixture of awe and nervousness. He had seen many planets in his career, traveled to systems no human had ever visited, but nothing could prepare him for what lay ahead. Beyond the sensors, a strange signal pulsed with a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. It was intelligent. It was alive. "Captain," said his second-in-command Lena, her voice trembling slightly. "We're picking up a life form, not one like anything we've cataloged. It's massive." Ethan's heart skipped. He leaned closer to the screen. "Show me." The view shifted, revealing a figure floating in the void. She was tall, taller than any human, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Her eyes glowed softly like twin stars, and her movements were graceful, almost hypnotic. She radiated authority, yet there was a strange warmth about her. Ethan felt an unfamiliar stir in his chest. Something inside him whispered that this moment would change everything. A calm voice resonated through the ship's speakers, melodic and hypnotic. "I am Princess Leora of the Zephyrians," she said. "You have crossed the void to reach us, human. Tell me, why do you come?" Ethan swallowed hard. His voice felt small against the power in hers. "We come in peace," he said finally. "We seek understanding, friendship, and knowledge." Her gaze seemed to pierce him, reading not just his words but his intentions, his fears, and the courage hiding inside him. "Curious," she murmured. "Humans are known for daring, but few venture this far, into the heart of the unknown." Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. Something about her presence was magnetic, impossible to ignore. He realized in that instant that this was not just a first contact mission. This was personal. Something about Leora made him want to rise to a challenge he hadn't even understood. Over the next few hours, they communicated carefully. She asked about Earth, about humanity, about his life. He described cities, oceans, mountains, the small moments of human joy and sorrow. She listened, asking questions, showing curiosity, but also a subtle, almost playful amusement at his attempts to explain things her species could barely imagine. "You humans are resilient," she said finally, her voice soft, almost like a whisper meant only for him. "You survive, you adapt, you love, even against impossible odds. It is extraordinary." Ethan's chest tightened. He was not used to compliments, certainly not from someone who could easily end his life with a thought. Yet he felt a strange warmth, as if she understood something about him that no human ever had. A silence fell between them, the kind that carries more weight than any words. The stars outside seemed to lean closer, as if watching. Then Leora tilted her head slightly, her glowing eyes locking on his. "I have seen courage in many beings, but something about you intrigues me, human. I wish to know more." Ethan's pulse quickened. He wanted to tell her everything, yet words failed him. He only nodded, feeling the thrill of discovery mingled with something deeper, a spark of connection he had never known could exist. For the first time in his life, Ethan realized that the universe was not just vast and dangerous. It was full of possibilities. And among those endless stars, in the silence between worlds, he had found something that made every risk worthwhile, something that would change his life forever. Days passed after the first contact, but Ethan could not stop thinking about Princess Leora. The way she had looked at him, the calm strength in her voice, the faint smile that seemed to reach even through the cold emptiness of space. It haunted him. He found himself watching the stars, wondering what her world looked like, what secrets she held, and why she seemed so fascinated by him. Then, the unexpected happened. A transmission arrived from Leora herself. Her voice was soft, yet carried a weight of authority that made Ethan sit up straight in his chair. "Captain Ethan Cole," she said, "I invite you to visit my palace. Come, see the heart of Zephyria." Ethan felt his chest tighten. This was not an ordinary diplomatic meeting. It was personal. He accepted without hesitation, his mind swirling, with curiosity, excitement, and something he could not name. He prepared his ship, his hands trembling slightly as he checked the instruments. Humanity had faced war, famine, and countless dangers, but nothing compared to the unknown that awaited him on this alien planet. When his ship finally entered the Zephyrian atmosphere, Ethan's breath caught. The world below shimmered with crystalline cities floating above clouds of light. Rivers of glowing energy ran like veins across the landscape, and towers of silver and gold reached into the sky. Everything felt alive, as if the planet itself watched and breathed with purpose. A soft hum filled the ship as it landed on a platform made of translucent crystal. Ethan stepped out, feeling a strange warmth in the air. The energy of the planet seemed to resonate with him, filling him with courage and a sense of awe he had never known. And then he saw her. Princess Leora stood at the balcony of a grand palace that gleamed like the morning sun. Her silver hair flowed around her shoulders, and her glowing eyes met his instantly. She smiled, a small, gentle curve that made Ethan's heart beat faster. "Welcome, human," she said. Her voice was melodic, carrying through the air as if the wind itself sang it. "You have traveled far. Tell me, what do you see?" Ethan looked at the beauty of her world, at the floating gardens and rivers of light, and at her standing there like a queen of stars. "I see wonder," he said honestly. "I see a world I could never have imagined. And I see you." Her smile widened slightly, and she stepped closer. "You speak truth, Captain. Few humans have courage enough to look beyond the known and embrace what they cannot yet understand. You inspire me, Ethan." Ethan felt heat rise to his cheeks. "I only do what I believe is right," he replied, though his voice sounded small against the majesty of the place. Leora's eyes softened. "It is more than that. You possess something rare, a fire in your spirit, a strength in your heart, and the courage to love without knowing the cost. That is why I wish to speak with you honestly, as one being to another." Ethan's pulse quickened, anticipation and fear mingling in his chest. "I am listening," he said. She moved closer, her glowing hand hovering just inches from his. The energy between them was palpable, a gentle hum that seemed to echo the beating of a heart. "Ethan, I ask you this not lightly, nor out of whim. Do you desire me as your wife?" Ethan's breath caught. The universe seemed to hold its breath with him. His mind raced, thinking of the differences between their worlds, the impossibilities, the doubts, the dangers, but none of that mattered. None of it mattered when he looked at her, and he realized that something inside him had known this moment was coming from the very first time he had seen her. "Yes," he said, his voice steady, though his heart raced like thunder. "Yes, I do." For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then Leora's hand reached out, brushing gently against his. Ethan felt a warmth unlike anything he had ever known, a connection that went beyond words, beyond logic, beyond reason. In that instant, two worlds began to bridge, and humanity's courage shone brightly in the heart of the stars. After Ethan's words hung in the air, life aboard the Zephyrian palace was filled with wonder and tension. Though Princess Leora smiled more often now and their conversations grew longer, not everyone among her people welcomed a human so intimately into their world. Whispers floated through the crystal halls like invisible currents. "A human cannot understand us," some said. "This is a dangerous choice for the princess." Ethan felt it. He could sense the doubt, the subtle glances, the murmurs as he walked past. Yet he refused to let it shake him. He had faced impossible odds before, storms in space, hostile encounters, and the unknown of distant worlds. But this was different. This was personal. This was about love, about courage, about proving that humanity was more than just fragile flesh and fleeting lives. One evening, as the twin moons rose above the shimmering city, Ethan walked through the floating gardens alone. The crystalline plants glowed softly in the night, and the gentle hum of Zephyrian energy whispered like a lullaby. He stopped at the edge of a balcony overlooking the glowing rivers below, and let out a slow breath. "Am I enough?" he whispered to the night, his voice almost lost in the soft hum. "Can a human ever truly belong here?" The wind seemed to answer, brushing his face like a comforting hand. He thought of Earth, its storms, its chaos, its beauty, and the countless humans who had survived against all odds. Humanity endured, adapted, and rose when everything seemed lost. Perhaps he realized he had to believe that this spirit, this courage, could carry him here too. Meanwhile, Leora watched him from afar. She had sensed his unease, his fear of rejection, not from her, but from her people. Her heart ached as she saw him struggle, but she understood his hesitation. Humanity was new to her world, and the weight of duty and tradition pressed on them both. Yet she also saw something more, something rare in the human spirit: his determination, his kindness, his unwavering hope. Days later, they met in the Hall of Light, a vast chamber where Zephyrian history glimmered in floating symbols and holographic projections. Ethan's eyes wandered across the glowing artifacts, but his attention was fixed on Leora. She moved gracefully toward him, her silver hair floating slightly as if the air itself adored her. "You feel doubt," she said softly. "Not as a question, but as a statement. I see it in you, Ethan, and I understand it. My people, they question you. They do not yet know the strength that lies within humans." Ethan nodded. "And I want to be worthy of you, of your people, of this world. But sometimes I fear I'm too human, too small, too ordinary." Leora's eyes softened, glowing brighter in the dim hall. "Do you know why I chose you?" she asked. "Because of that fire in your heart. You may think yourself small, but it is your humanity, your flaws, your courage, your compassion that makes you extraordinary. You endure, Ethan, you rise, and that is the mark of greatness." Her words stirred something deep within him, a spark of hope and resolve. He straightened, feeling a newfound strength. Humanity had never been about being perfect. It was about rising, loving, and surviving despite impossibility. Perhaps that was enough. Perhaps that was exactly what Leora needed. They stood in silence for a moment, the glowing history of the Zephyrians surrounding them like a gentle embrace. Ethan reached for her hand, feeling the warmth, the light, and the connection that transcended species, worlds, and fears. "I will try," he whispered. "I will prove that humanity can rise to meet this life, this love, whatever it takes." Leora's smile returned, tender and full of hope. "You already have, Ethan. You already have." As they left the Hall of Light hand in hand, Ethan knew the road ahead would not be easy. There would be trials, judgment, and moments when doubt tried to claim him. But for the first time, he also knew that love, true love, could bridge even the widest of galaxies. And in that knowledge, his human heart burned brighter than any star. The morning sun glimmered across the floating crystal towers of Zephyria, casting rainbows in every direction. Ethan stood at the palace balcony, staring at the horizon where jagged peaks pierced the clouds. Princess Leora approached silently, her glowing presence calm yet commanding. "There is a trial," she said softly, her eyes locked on his. "Every who wishes to marry a Zephyrian must prove themselves not just in courage but in heart. You will face it, Ethan." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling both fear and determination coiling inside him like fire. "Tell me what I must do," he said. Leora's gaze softened. "You must journey to the shattered peaks. The storms there are dangerous, unpredictable. Many have tried and failed. The trial is not to harm you, but to test the courage and spirit of those who love a Zephyrian truly. Only those who endure can return unbroken with proof of their heart." Ethan's mind raced. The peaks looked impossible, jagged mountains that split the sky, lightning crackling between the highest points. But he remembered her words, the fire she had seen in him, the courage she believed humans could possess. He nodded. "I will do it." The journey began the next day. Ethan climbed aboard a small shuttle, the wind of Zephyria's atmosphere whipping around him. The mountains rose ahead like jagged teeth against the sky, lightning dancing dangerously between the peaks. With each passing mile, fear gnawed at him, but he forced himself to remember. Humanity had survived worse. Humanity had faced the impossible and triumphed. The climb was brutal. Rocks crumbled beneath his feet, Winds tried to throw him off balance, and energy storms crackled dangerously overhead. Ethan's muscles ached, and doubt whispered in the back of his mind. What if I fail? What if I am not worthy? He thought of Leora then, her eyes glowing with trust and hope. He thought of humanity itself, how humans endured hardship, how they faced danger with courage, how they always rose again. The thought filled him with determination. He pressed forward step by painful step. Days passed. Hunger and fatigue weighed heavily on him, yet he did not stop. Each time he wanted to rest, he pictured Leora's face, the warmth in her voice, the hope she had placed in him. It was enough to keep him moving, enough to make him endure when even his body begged him to surrender. Finally, at the summit of the tallest peak, the storm reached its fiercest. Lightning flashed, illuminating the jagged rocks and the swirling clouds. Ethan felt fear, true fear, but he stood firm. He raised his hand, feeling the energy of the storm wrap around him. And in that moment, he realized something profound. Courage was not the absence of fear. It was rising despite fear, moving forward when everything tried to stop you. The storm seemed to recognize his resolve. Gradually it calmed, as if the mountains themselves bowed to the human heart. Ethan collapsed to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. He had endured. He had faced the impossible. And in doing so, he had proven that the spirit of humanity, undaunted, determined and full of love, could rise anywhere, even among alien stars. When he returned to the palace, Leora was waiting, her eyes shining brighter than any star he had ever seen. She stepped forward, her glowing hand reaching out to him. "You have endured," she said, her voice full of awe. "You have faced what few could survive, and your heart has proven itself true. Humanity shines brightly in you, Ethan, brighter than even I imagined." Ethan looked into her eyes, breathing heavily, feeling the bond between them grow stronger. "I did it for you." "For us?" "No," she whispered, her hand on his cheek. "You did it for what humanity is. And in doing so, you have shown the universe the courage of your kind. You are extraordinary, Ethan, truly extraordinary." In that moment, standing hand in hand with the princess, Ethan understood something deep and eternal. Humanity was not just clever or strong. Humanity endured. Humanity loved. And humanity, even in the face of impossible odds, could rise bright and unbroken among the stars. The palace was quiet when Ethan returned, the glow of Zephiria's rivers casting shimmering reflections across the crystal floors. Every step he took felt heavy with exhaustion, yet light with triumph. He had faced the shattered peaks, endured storms that could have torn him apart, and survived. And now he was home, not just to the palace, but to Leora, and to the possibility of something much greater. Princess Leora awaited him in the Hall of Unity, a vast chamber filled with floating symbols of Zephirian history and honor. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever, a mixture of pride and wonder in her gaze. She stepped toward him, her presence calm yet commanding. "You have returned," she said softly, though the power behind her words echoed through the hall. "You have faced the trial as few have dared, and endured when many would have fallen. Tell me, Ethan, what did you see?" Ethan knelt instinctively, though it was unnecessary. "I saw fear," he said quietly. "I saw danger that could have ended me in moments. But I also saw something stronger. I saw hope. I saw the possibility of love, of trust, and of proving that humanity can rise when nothing else seems possible." Leora's hand reached out, and he took it, feeling warmth and light flow through him like a current. "That is why you are extraordinary," she said. "It is not merely surviving that matters. It is how you face life, how you rise, and how you carry those you love with you. You honor yourself, and through that you honor all of humanity." Ethan felt a wave of emotion he could not name. Pride? Relief? Joy? It all mingled with the pounding of his human heart. I only did what I had to," he whispered, though he knew the words were small compared to the weight of what he had endured. "No," Leora said, stepping closer. "You did more than that. You have shown the Zephirians what we rarely see: courage not for glory but for love, strength not for power but for heart. Humanity is remarkable, Ethan, and through you we have seen it shine." As she spoke, members of her council approached, their eyes wide with awe. They had watched the trial from afar, observing Ethan's every move, noting his perseverance, his calm determination, and the unwavering care he carried in his heart. Murmurs of approval rippled through the chamber. Some bowed, some raised their hands in gestures of respect. It was unprecedented. "You have proven something none of us expected," said a tall Zephyrian elder, his voice full of reverence. "A human, small, fragile, and yet unbreakable in spirit. You have reminded us that courage and love are universal, that even the smallest species can achieve greatness when the heart is true." Ethan stood gripping Leora's hand tightly. He felt the weight of both worlds upon him, humanity and Zephyria, yet the pressure did not crush him. Instead, it strengthened him. Humanity had faced worse. Humanity had endured, adapted, and risen. And now, here, before the eyes of a proud alien race, that truth was undeniable. Leora smiled, a glow surrounding her like sunlight through crystal. "You have not only passed the trial of the shattered peaks, Ethan. You have passed the trial of hearts. Yours, mine, and all who witness this moment. Humanity is extraordinary, and so are you." Tears welled in Ethan's eyes. He had known the odds were against him, that the doubts of another world might outweigh the courage of one man. But here he was, standing not only alive but honored, recognized, and accepted. He bowed slightly, a smile breaking across his face. "Then I will continue to be worthy, for you, for your people, and for humanity." Leora lifted his chin gently, her glowing eyes meeting his. "You already are, Ethan, and in being true to yourself, you have shown the universe what it means to rise, to endure, and to love beyond limits." In that moment, the hall seemed to shimmer brighter, as if even Zephyria itself acknowledged the triumph of a human heart. Ethan knew without a doubt that this was just the beginning, not only of their journey together, but of humanity's shining presence among the stars. The day of the union dawned bright over Zephyria, though not with the usual brilliance of the twin suns. Instead, it glowed with a softer, warmer light, as if the planet itself recognized the importance of what was about to happen. Humans and Zephyrians alike had gathered, their eyes wide with curiosity, awe, and respect. The palace shimmered with floating crystal lights, and the air hummed gently with energy, resonating with hope and anticipation. Ethan stood at the center of the grand hall, his human heart racing with a mixture of pride, excitement, and humility. He glanced around at the guests, Zephyrians of every rank, observing him with cautious reverence, and a few humans who had traveled alongside him, sharing in this extraordinary moment. But all of that faded when he looked at Leora. She descended the staircase, her glowing silver hair flowing like liquid starlight. Her eyes locked onto his, shimmering with emotion, pride, and love. She moved with grace, but there was an undeniable strength in her presence, an acknowledgement that she had chosen him not out of whim, but because she had seen the heart that matched hers. "You are here," Ethan said softly, almost to himself, though it was meant for her. "I am," Leora replied, her voice melodic, carrying warmth and certainty, "and I have never been more certain of anything in my life." The Zephyrian elder officiated, his voice reverent and echoing through the crystal hall. "Today we witness the union of two worlds, a human who has proven courage beyond imagination, and a Zephyrian princess who sees the spirit of greatness in one so different. Let this bond serve as a symbol of strength, of love, and of the light of humanity shining among the stars." Ethan took Leora's hands in his, feeling the warmth of her glow, the rhythm of her heart, and the undeniable connection between them. "Do you still desire me?" she asked, her glowing eyes searching his soul. "Yes," he said firmly, every word resonating with truth, always. Leora smiled, and for a moment the universe seemed to pause. The air hummed around them, the energy of the planet swirling gently like a protective embrace. When they clasped hands fully, a surge of radiant light passed through the hall, enveloping all who watched. It was not just a wedding, it was a statement to the universe, a testament to courage, love, and humanity's enduring spirit. The ceremony continued, but Ethan's attention never left Leora. He noticed the way the light danced in her eyes, how her glowing hands seemed to reach not only for him, but for the bond between their worlds. The Zephyrians observed silently, some in awe, some in disbelief, but all moved by the undeniable truth. This union was real, profound, and impossible to ignore. When the elder pronounced them bound, Ethan felt a surge of emotion he had never known. "We are together," he whispered, as if saying it aloud made it more tangible. "Yes," Leora replied, her voice full of emotion, warmth, and love. "Together, always." The hall erupted not in noise but in gentle applause, glowing energy rising from the Zephyrians in silent acknowledgement and soft murmurs of wonder from the humans. It was a moment beyond words, a bridge between worlds, a testament that love and humanity's courage could conquer doubt, fear, and impossibility. As the ceremony concluded, Ethan and Leora stepped onto the balcony together, overlooking the glowing city below. He wrapped an arm around her, feeling her warmth, her light, and the unshakable truth that this was only the beginning. "I never imagined this," Ethan said, voice thick with emotion. "You did more than imagine," Leora said softly. "You lived it. You endured, you rose, and you proved that humanity is extraordinary. And so are you." Ethan smiled, resting his forehead against hers, feeling the gentle hum of Zephyria, the beating of hearts, and the promise of the future. In that moment, the human spirit, full of courage, love, and hope, shone brighter than ever across the stars. Years passed, yet the memory of the shattered peaks and the glowing halls of Zephyria never faded from Ethan's mind. He and Leora had built a life together, a bridge between worlds that few could have imagined. Children of both humans and Zephyrians laughed in the crystal gardens, their bright eyes reflecting the combined light of two worlds. Humanity had not only survived among the stars, it had thrived, inspiring those who had once doubted it. Ethan often walked with Leora along the balcony of the palace, overlooking the shimmering rivers below. Their hands intertwined, and the hum of Zephyrian energy resonated gently around them. He remembered the first day he had set foot on this world, nervous, unsure, and wondering if a human could ever belong here. Now he knew the answer. Humanity could do more than belong. Humanity could rise. Humanity could shine. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Leora asked softly, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the city. Ethan smiled, feeling the warmth of her hand in his. "Every day, I think about how small we were and how much we've grown. Together, humanity, your people, they've surprised you, haven't they?" Leora laughed softly, the sound like music blending with the hum of Zephyria. "Yes, humans are full of courage, curiosity, and love. You've reminded us that strength is not only in power but in heart. You've reminded me why your kind is extraordinary." Ethan's chest swelled with pride, not for himself but for all of humanity. They had endured wars, famine, disease, and the loneliness of the stars. Yet here they were, standing as equals among one of the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. And through it all, he had learned that the human spirit, undaunted, unbroken, and endlessly hopeful, was what truly made them remarkable. Their children ran past, laughing as they played with creatures of Zephyria, tiny luminous beings that had once seemed alien and now felt like friends. Ethan knelt, catching the smallest one in his arms. He held the glowing child close, feeling warmth and life and the unspoken promise of the future. "We did this," he whispered to Leora. "No, Ethan," she said, placing her hand over his. "You did this. Humanity did this. Your courage, your heart, it changed everything. You showed us all what it means to endure, to love, and to rise above doubt. That is the mark of your kind." Ethan looked out over the glowing city, over the rivers of energy, the floating gardens, and the skies streaked with light. He realized that this was more than a marriage. It was a symbol, a testament to the strength of the human spirit, the courage to venture into the unknown, and the power of love that crosses worlds, species, and impossibility. In every corner of Zephyria, humans were now respected, admired, and celebrated. Songs of their bravery echoed in the halls, and the story of Ethan and Leora became a legend, teaching all who listened that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, not because of weapons, not because of numbers, but because of heart, courage, and hope. Ethan and Leora stood together at the highest balcony of the palace, watching the twin suns set over the horizon. Their hands were clasped tightly and their hearts beat in sync, a rhythm that seemed to echo across the stars. "Do you think the universe understands now?" Ethan asked quietly. Leora rested her head on his shoulder, her voice soft but filled with certainty. "It does. Humanity has shown what it is capable of, and through love, courage, and endurance, it shines brighter than ever." Ethan smiled, feeling tears prick his eyes. He had faced doubt, fear, and the impossible. He had crossed worlds, endured trials, and risked everything for a love that seemed larger than life. And in that moment he knew, humanity's light could never be dimmed. As the stars began to sparkle above Zephyria, Ethan whispered to the universe, "We rise. We endure, we love. We are human." And in that quiet, infinite moment, humanity's triumph shone brighter than any star.